invite all who would care to join us in the recitation of the Lord's Prayer, followed by a moment of silence. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. It is now 7 o'clock. Shelby City Council is called to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated, please. Roll call, please, Mr. Crum.
Mr. Robb.
Here.
Mr. Roberts. Here. Mr. Reese.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Present.
Mr. McLaughlin. Here.
I'll now entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal from August the 3rd, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin to dispense with the reading of the journal from August the 3rd, 2026. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Robb.
Yay.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Reese.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
That motion passes. We now come to the time of public comment. I see no one in the gallery for any public comment. Does anyone have any public comment to read from any emails received? Someone desires to public comment? Hearing none, seeing none, let's move forward then to reports from standing and special committees. This evening we do have a report from the committee of the whole meeting, and Councilman McLaughlin will deliver that report.
Thank you, Mayor. Committee of the Whole met August 11th at 3:30, and we discussed basically Utilities and Streets Committee information as well as finance and personnel. The first item we want to discuss is the wastewater treatment project, dewatering project, wastewater treatment plant, I should say. The engineering is revising a project scope to reduce the overall cost of the project. The last probable cost estimate was $3 million. We're expected to have a new project design from an engineer in the next couple of weeks. As part of the anticipated project schedule, construction should be 100% complete by 2028. Additional items related to that, we need to establish a revenue stream to pay for the project. We desire to use the septic and grease deliveries to pay for the note, and we'll be discussing legislation tonight on that. We're just going to basically talk about the grease receiving a rate of 12 cents per gallon, where it states the grease shall be identified as leftover liquid oil or congealed animal fat resulting from food preparation, drying, deep frying, and cooking waste oil that is generated from a restaurant or school, and such as identified and declared by the superintendent of the wastewater treatment plant. Next item, road salt update. ODOT is assisting the political subdivisions with salt purchases. Cost per ton is $92, and the city requested 800 tons. And of course, with that, we might need to be picking up the salt, the Belleville ODOT post, which would be about 88 loads that need to be picked up. Next item is the electric fund discussion. The electric system is not insured, and it's not feasible, and so we need to maintain a $4.5 million minimum balance. The balance is dropping below from the desired $4.5 million balance at about $200,000 less per year. Other items, upcoming electric 5-year capital projects are pretty expensive, with such as the 15 kV switchgear station project, which could be in the millions. The light plant facility / smokestack demolition project, also in the millions. The George Hawk substation upgrade, low millions. And then the AMP GS debt, which still stands at $308,000 plus. couple of solutions to tackle all these is to raise the rates to recover annual $200,000 net reduction to the fund balance. The tough solution is possibly a deep review into the general fund expenses. The electric fund supports the general fund with 11.2% of the revenues in 2025 as an example. It supports the general fund with $350,000 in administrative cost. Other utility department rates and project funding, the water rate adjustment, remember we did a 13% increase effective July 1st of 2026. And then we've got the huge water service line replacement project, which engineers estimated about $10 million at that. That project starts next year in 2027. As far as the finance and personnel, we have nothing to brief at this time. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. McLaughlin in regard to his report? Mr. Mark?
Just one thing to add, there is a grant that we're looking at getting for the fire department. And so there's a potential where we may have to have an emergency meeting to approve that. So just so it's aware.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much, Mr. McLaughlin. Move forward then to the Safety Committee. Councilman Roberts.
Thanks, sir. We did meet on August 5th, and started with the hazmat. Attended the LEPC meeting, and that group is looking to, they like to provide training on battery and energy storage systems, so like Tesla batteries and solar batteries. We'd like to try to get that training here since we have our battery our best system out there with our solar field. Would be a really good place to have that training. So we're going to try to see if we can get that training to come here. We'll just have other fire departments come here to have that training. Mutual aid, we received one mutual aid from Madison, received one from Shiloh, provided 6 to Plymouth, provided one to Franklin, and provided one mutual aid to Crescent. Final inspection on the new engine will be done on the 31st of August, and from there it will be sent to the dealer for uplifting. They received some donations to assist in the cost of some of the new equipment that will be installed. Hydrant flushing is taking place. It should be finished that week, so the week of the 5th of August. And then the flow test would be taking place over the next few weeks, so that should be going on currently right now. Calls were up over 100 calls for the same time last year. And inspections are ongoing as usual. CPR classes begin on the 1st and 15th of every month. And large businesses on an as-needed basis. And the chief attended the Ohio Fire Chiefs Conference July 13th and 16th. There was some funding he got for that, so that was a fully funded conference for him, covering the hotel stay and everything, so that, and he said it was very beneficial, so he was grateful for the funding so he could get to do that. And we did have discussion about e-bikes. It seems like it's getting out of control. The kids are riding, not paying attention to the laws of the roads, so we're going to have we'll have more discussions about that, and some possible solutions, maybe some education at least for that, but there'll be more talks to come. That's my report.
Thank you, Councilman Roberts. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. Roberts in regard to his report? Mr. Rob?
On the subject of e-bikes, it's been brought to my attention that there's a group of juveniles that frequent the Black Forest Commons area and particularly the pavilion down there, and do some vandalism with those vehicles. With black rubber marks all over the floor down there, and through the splash pad and all that. So yes, it is important.
Yes, sir. I'll say a little bit more about that in my report as well. Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Councilman Roberts, appreciate that. We move on to reports of city officials. In my mayor's report, since our last council meeting, I have been occupied with typical mayoral duties and delights. I attended and participated in several meetings, the Board of Health staff meeting, Planning Commission meeting, Safety Committee meeting, Committee of the Whole, of course. Last Wednesday, I spent about 5 hours with Congressman Bob Latta as he visited a few businesses here in Shelby. I want to thank Mr. Jeff Parton, our Economic Development Manager, for lining up those site visits. And I met by Zoom with my fellow board members of the Community Action Commission of Erie, Huron, and Richland County. Did meet, as alluded to here, with the issue of e-bikes and all motorized forms of transportation. Met with the Traffic Commission this morning, and one of the main topics was how to deal with the increasing number of bicycles and e-bikes and micro mobility and personal conveyance devices. How's that for a mouthful? Covers all this, the scooters and skateboards and all that kind of stuff. I want to thank Chief Combs. He's put a ton of work into this. We want to approach it from a data-driven standpoint. You have two areas of concern, of course, the downtown business district and the city as a whole. Discussion is ongoing. You laid some things out before the Traffic Commission, maybe some signage coming up and so forth. Once that has come as a recommendation, the next step will be the Safety Committee. And we want to, take a look at our policies and crafting an ordinance that will meet with the modern demands of today with all these devices. So I think all of us have heard from constituents. Chief is well aware of those and has really put together, probably should get in front of all of you right now. It's all draft form. We're still working on it, but there will be, there's plans for legislation to come before council here. But it's going to take a little while because we're going to do it and do it right. I will say, I think in this executive briefing prepared by Chief Combs, I think this final paragraph here on page 1 kind of captures where we want to go. The proposed approach would preserve lawful bicycle and e-bike transportation, establish reasonable operating areas for lower speed devices, protect pedestrians in designated areas, prohibit unsafe behavior, and provide clearer rules for devices such as the one wheels and electric skateboards and electric unicycles that do not fit neatly with the traditional bicycle classifications. I think that kind of puts it in a nutshell. We want to try to avoid motor vehicle collisions with all these different devices. So again, Chief is doing a great job of bringing this to a point, and again, the next stop will be the Safety Committee. So if you have any suggestions, if you've heard things, seen things, have some things documented, please pass those along to Chief Combs. He's kind of heading this initiative up, or heading up this initiative. That's better English. Okay. So that's kind of where we're at on that. But we are moving forward with some policies and procedures, legislation. Mr. Rob.
Just a reminder to take a look at the state statutes concerning motor vehicles. Some of those do fall under classification of motorcycles due to the output of the motor. So not all of them are being ridden legally. I see quite a few of them on the street with young people, definitely too young to be driving, operating what would be classified as a motorcycle.
We're with you 100%. And another piece of this will be educating our officers to identifying, some of them may look like an e-bike, it's not an e-bike, you know, and there's supposed to be labels on them, as I understand. So it's a kind of it's a little complicated, because these are have just emerged so quickly on the market, and some pretending to be e-bikes and they're not.
But this came out from the state years ago with anticipation that we may run into something like this in the future.
Yes, and those are referenced in the legislation, so thank you. As a former police chief, I'm sure you're well aware of all that stuff. Okay, all right, gentlemen, that's all I have. Any questions or comments other than that? We'll turn our attention to Mr. Brian Crown, Director of Finance.
Thank you, sir. Our accounting software switchover is, we are live on the new system. We are learning somewhat painfully, but as with all software conversions, that's really kind of taken the most of the last couple of weeks. I do want to thank everybody throughout the city, because the department heads and such are going to really have to change how they do things as well. But a special thank you to the staff at City Hall. We've picked up payroll from ADP as part of this. We're doing it in-house now. So that was another big hurdle that we mixed in, right with everything else. So, but everybody really stepped up to get that to happen. We had some hiccups on that first payroll, but I think everything's been fixed for the next one. So we are off and running, and it will be a lot of training here in the near future to make sure everybody's up to speed on that. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from Mr. Crown? I may say, I think from my observation, that Ms. Amber that gets an A double plus for all the work that she's done on this, so much behind the scenes and extra hours she's put into this, trying to get this rolled out as smoothly as possible. And still, even today, met with the superintendents. You know, if you see Amber, just make sure you thank her. This, in the future, I think, from Mr. Ensman's standpoint, this is really going to be a great. Mr. Geis also writes out requisitions and so forth. This is going to be so much smoother, better, faster, and more efficient. So, but it's an uphill climb like this for a while. But so yeah, Miss Amber's done a great job rolling it out. So, all right. But Mr. Ister, Law Director.
Thank you, Mayor. My apologies for my absence the last couple of meetings. It will be avoided. I think everything is in order. Nothing to report.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions from Mr. Ister? Mr. Geis, Project Coordinator.
Thank you, Mayor. Crews have started on the curb ramp portion of the paving project, so I imagine those have those poured tomorrow. The asphalt contractor's ready to start right away, so they'll have about 3-4 days worth of work, and then come back and adjust all the casting. So it's not a very big project, shouldn't take long. So also the contractor started on our West Main and South Long project. They're doing the water main portion of it right now. Their structures for the drainage, they can't get until the end of September. So they're going to come back, and then they get the water part done, and then come back in September and get that portion completed. So all be well done before the snow flies and get good time for asphalt. You were handed out today a part of my zoning part. There is a planning commission will hold a public hearing on 8/25 at 4:30 concerning a cell tower, Verizon cell tower, right between the fire department and the justice center. It's not what it says on here, but that's okay. We know where it's at. So they will hold that hearing at their planning commission meeting that Tuesday. Also, you're giving out a thing, which one's on the next piece of agenda here. The Historic Preservation Commission did move to recommend to council that the mausoleum be removed from the local landmarks list. I handed you out a copy of that legislation that deals with that and highlighted that the commission may recommend the council remove that landmark from the landmarks list and no longer meet the criteria of this chapter. So it's going to be talking more than on that. So That's all I have there.
Any comments or questions for Mr. Geis in regard to his report? We may say a word about the CSX crossings that, we really don't have much control. I don't know, we've been in contact with CSX, but do you have any word on that?
So what they've done is, especially across Gamble, they've already completed the Main Street crossing. So they're replacing all of the rail. The rail is, I don't know, remember the length of it, but it's starting at the north end of the Main Street crossing of CSX. That whole piece of rail goes all the way through Gamble and all the way through Smiley. So when they lay that in, they do not want to join in the crossing. So for that particular one, they have to close both of them down. They're replacing every bit of the rail, so they'll lay those in, redo the whole crossings, and then open things back up. So that's the reason why they're doing both of them at the same time. They're starting out, I think this week, out on the north side of
They're
town.
on State Street.
Yeah.
And, what's the name?
But yeah, they're
On
on.
State Street, and, yeah, Adam on the west.
So they will be moving into town, and it's gonna be a pain, but it kind of is what it is, so.
Yeah, thank you. And the timing is kind of rough for school starting, there are a number of folks that drive both State Street and on the west, so hopefully that'll be completed as soon as possible. But we do not have any control over that, other than to communicate with them and let them know of our desires. So hopefully that'll be done quick. All right, any other comments or questions for Mr. Geis? All right, look forward to new business. As Mr. Geis alluded to, there's a letter of recommendation from the Shelby Historic Preservation Commission concerning the Oakland Cemetery Mausoleum. And council is to take action upon that if they so desire. Mr. Martin.
Mayor, I move that we formally remove the Oakland Mausoleum located within Oakland Cemetery from the City of Shelby's historic local landmark inventory.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. Roberts that we formally remove the Ontario Mausoleum from the local historic landmark inventory here in the City of Shelby. That covered pretty well. Understood? Okay. Discussion. Mr. Roberts.
Under section D here, it says commission may recommend council remove the landmarks list properties that no longer meet the criteria of the chapter. How exactly does this no longer meet the criteria of the historical commission?
Mr. Geis.
They've labeled that out in this, they've had to remove 2 of the main towers. The other 2 are scheduled to be removed just because their deterioration is so bad that they have to come down. And then at that point, there's really nothing left of the significance. They just want, they've got a project to do something to get those crypts covered up and protect those who are resting and hopefully peace and so forth.
What is the plan going forward then, as far as the crypts are concerned?
They have a plan to basically build a building on top of that. And with some different features, they've been working with Chris Drain, a local historian, to do some things on the inside to make that, keep the history of the building alive inside of there. So I would, listening to the Historic Preservation Commission and some of the local historians and the cemetery committee, they've done a fine job, I think, of trying to preserve that history.
Okay, I've been following this for quite a while, and I know the reason I'm asking these questions is so people have an understanding why and where we're going with
Mr. Martin.
It is interesting, just to note for the record that while they do recommend that we remove the mausoleum, they are against the pole barn enclosure. So I just like to point that out. But how does this, if anything, affect our ability to get grants to help out with the project itself.
Mr. McLaughlin?
As a reminder, Garland Gates had brought the cemetery issue up a few years ago about the situation it was in. There was one board member that was on the board at the time, John Hancock. He was the president and the only board member, and so there were some issues with the cemetery. And so myself, Mr. Ensman, Mr. Crum, we volunteered, I don't know, 3 years ago to join that board. And since then, we've adjusted the rates for different things dealing with the cemetery. We've paved to the tune of $45,000 in paving. We've fixed some flooding issues in the northwest corner of the cemetery. But of course, the biggest issue is the mausoleum, as Joe was talking about. Over the years, we had a lot of water damage, and it just really ate the exterior of the structure away. And so John Ensman, he's taken the lead in getting a design for the exterior, so you can talk about it in a moment. But he's put a lot of time into this, and we've worked with the Historical Commission, Christina Drain, and others, to really come up with the best design that we could come up with. We raised, like last year, we went to the Milliron Foundation and applied for a $130,000 grant. We received it. Okay, so that's very helpful. The community raised approximately $5,000 as well. We've had some other folks jump in and give some money to the cause. So I think we're sitting at 160,000-ish right now, to be able to do this. And so, me, John, or Brian, we can answer more in-depth questions if you have any, Charlie.
Mr. Crum?
One thing to add that might speak to Councilman Martin's point. This is an enclosure, so we talk about getting grants. If someone would want to do the project of a complete renovation and wanted to work towards, raising the money and doing that project, it would be possible. We just take the building off. Just the funds were not available. We couldn't raise that kind of money for the time being. So it's being preserved, and hopefully someday that would be a possibility.
Mr. Martin?
I guess that's my concern, that, so we put this enclosure over there, which I completely spoke about, that's fine. But if we did want to, or somebody wanted to get grants to do a restoration of what is underneath, not having it as a historic landmark would be a negative against those grants, correct?
Yes. It is still listed on the National Register at this point. So it's not local. They would have those opportunities available.
There is a $5,000 grant. We didn't meet the deadline. We just had not coordinated fully on that when Christina Drain brought it to our attention. So Christina's going to be, for this next round, she's going to be applying for that, as well as we're going to revisit some other opportunities, that we went with last year that we did not, we weren't part of receiving any of those funds. But whatever monies we have left over from our project, we are going to hand off to Christina Drain for her to, develop the inside of the structure to possibly, contain like a probably like a little museum like what we have right outside the doors here in the hallways. I thought it escapes me.
Mr. Martin?
So I guess my point is it not a little premature to take it off of our local registry at this juncture? Because we really don't know, because we don't know if this over structure is going to be more a long-term solution or a temporary solution, and we won't know that until, kind of the chips fall where they may. Is it premature to remove it from the local designation? Is, I guess, my question.
Yeah, I understand Mr. Martin's concern. I think we should go with the historical commission's recommendation at this time and just move forward. Some of the other things they're looking at, there's 240 crypts, 220 are filled. So if we can get the building looking nice and fix up the internal structure, but we still have 20 openings if anybody in the future would like to be buried there. Where the 4 towers are being removed, the 2 are already removed, you can see the area of the pads where the 2 towers on the east side used to be. Christina Drain had come up with the idea of possibly, incorporating an area within each tower where there's room to place urns, to further, in case some folks that would like to be placed in there.
Still on the national registry. I think that's what was up the grants as well. Any further discussion? Mr. Roberts?
Reading again through here, I guess I was asking why the recommendations, and the key reasons for recommendations are severe structural deterioration, water damage, public safety concerns, and loss of architectural integrity. But there's nothing that says they have to do it. There's no reason. But by taking this off of the registry, the local registry, there's no, it doesn't help or hinder it in any way, correct? I guess I
just in being in some of the meetings, I think it's the idea, if you have something on the local registry, it should be local registry worthy, and they don't feel that in this present condition, it's local registry worthy. It's like a guy that looked at the hammer, the hatchet that George Washington chopped down the cherry tree and had in the museum. They said, "That's the hammer?" That is the hatchet that George Washington used to chop down the cherry tree? He said, "Yes, sir, that's the hammer. It had 3 handles and 2 new heads, but that is the hatchet." So what we have out there is not the original, and it's been, for good reason, and I just don't think it has local registry in this. National registry, the original roots, I think it still opens up the idea for grants. But I think historicity is trying to be maintained by enclosing it, protecting it, being able to do some things. I saw a rendition of what could be done on the inside, protecting the history of that mausoleum. So I do, that's kind of why they're moving forward with this, that it's no longer really something that they should be championing at this point.
Are we opening up that proverbial can of worms by taking it off, and then the national one says, "Hang on a second, if they took it off the local registry, can they look at that and say, then we're going to go ahead and try to take it off of the national registry?" Is that something that can happen too? And then that thing's just sitting there, not on any registry at all?
National first. Yes.
My guess is in its condition, and this is when the nationals come around, if they ever do anything, they're gonna take it off.
Sure, right.
So, it just doesn't meet any of the criteria
Right.
that's on our ordinance anymore.
Once we take this off the registry, the next step, Mr. Ensman's got to get the county to approve the engineering design. Once it's approved, then our builder can set a date to build that. We want to get that done as quickly as possible before we go back into the winter cycle. Once we get the builder to decide when he's going to do it, Joe Likens locally, he's going to take the west towers down for free like he did the east towers and saved us a lot of money. When the west towers are down, essentially the only thing left of the exterior of that entire building, the roof's going to be gone, the 4 towers are going to be gone, only the north and south side walls are going to be there. And they're in bad shape too, but we decided to leave those in place. So the structure Mr. Ensman has, seen the design through, is going to cover everything and make sure that the 220 folks that are entombed in there are protected in the next, winter cycle. It's our belief that if it goes through, another winter cycle, those towers could fall down, you know. Bob Dean, originally a couple years ago, you know, he had some safety concerns with the exterior property of that structure. And of course, we spent $3,000, I believe, to put a fence, a safety fence around it so children, you know, wouldn't go up to it and, you know, get clobbered by something falling off, you know, the tops of those towers. And so, you know, as soon as Joe Likens was ready, we took that safety fencing down, and he took down those 2 towers. So now, the west towers are in really bad shape. And so we do not want to see that go through another cycle. We need, you know, to make sure, you know, we comply with what the Historical Commission would like to do, so Mr. Ensman can go and get those engineering approvals done so we can start the construction.
Mr. Rob?
Well, I have to side with the Historic Commission on this. Reason being, to build the building as it stands right now, they would have to go against their guidelines to approve the structure that needs to be built there to protect that building. So removing that removes them from that process and allows that to continue, which is going to be very helpful to continue the project. It's something that has to be done. It's going to be done sooner or later, or the whole thing's going to be on the ground, and then we have a huge problem. So removing it from their responsibility, I think, is a very responsible thing for them to do, or it has to be done.
Smart.
All right, so connecting the dots, the Historical Commission is a barrier at this time to actually putting up the pole barn building. And this is a way for us to take it out of their purview, so they're no longer a barrier to what actually needs done. So we've been dancing around this, making it sound like it was the Historical Commission's idea, but let's just call brass tacks and brass tacks. The Historical Commission doesn't want the pole barn building, and so if we don't remove it from their purview, then they're not going to approve the pole barn building, and then it will have to be appealed to us, and it will come back to us, and the whole thing. So, all right, now that we got that cleared up.
No, at the last commission meeting, they had a timeline and said if they didn't approve it, it was automatically approved. They took no action during that, so it's automatically approved. And then they said, we're just gonna make the motion to send this to council, so it doesn't meet the criteria and so forth. So they actually worked with the cemetery board on somewhat of a design for the building to go over, just to try to make it something, but it's not what it was, so.
We've been working very closely with the Historical Commission on this, letting them all know where we're at, what we need to do. And so we appreciate the help with the Historical Commission. One of the things I do want to say, if you go out there and look from the east side, look inside, the west towers started falling in, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, and it's somehow connected to the roof at all. And they built this kind of structure of beams on top of beams all the way up from the floor to the ceiling, you know, supporting this. Our concern is if it goes through one more winter cycle and everything caves in and it cracks those crypts open, like Mr. Rob said, we're going to be dealing with something bigger. So our number one goal, Mr. Crum and Mr. Ensman, all along has been to see this through to make sure that we protect those crypts. That's the number one goal here. And so we think we've come up with the best, with the money we've raised, the best design we could with the money we've raised.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Ready for roll call on the motion to formally remove Mr. Carmen?
Mr. Rob?
Yay.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Reese?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yeah.
That motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Any other new business to be brought before council this evening? Any unfinished business to be brought before council? Let's move forward with legislation then, Mr. Carmen.
Ordinance number 8, 2026. Transferring appropriations for the year 2026 and declaring an emergency.
Move that the rules requiring that ordinance be read on 3 separate occasions be suspended.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin that the rule requiring an ordinance to be read on 3 separate occasions be suspended. Discussion? Mr. Roberts?
My agenda says for the year 2025, is that correct?
Mr. Crum?
No, that was error on the agenda, but the ordinance does say 2026. So, thank you for,
You're looking for an Eagle Eye Award, that's what we're looking for, we'll give it to you.
No, I'm just trying to avoid some confusion.
Understood. Thank you. All right. Any further discussion on the motion to suspend? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rob,
Yay.
Mr. Roberts, Mr. Reese,
Yay.
Mr. Martin,
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
That motion passes.
Move for passage of the ordinance.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of ordinance number 8, 2026. Discussion? Mr. Crum?
Thank you, sir. Most of this is just housekeeping. We're getting to that part of the year where some lines are starting to run a little low, and so we're funding them with other lines. A couple of the major things, the fire department needs to do a software conversion. I think it's 12 or 13 grand. It wasn't on the agenda appropriations, and so that came up. And pool chemicals were just a lot higher than they were last year with the Blackport Commons and prices just going up. A few other administrative stuff to move around, so nothing too surprising with this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rob,
Yay.
Mr. Roberts, Mr. Reese,
Yay.
Mr. Martin,
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
That motion passes.
Ordinance number 9, 2026, amending section 1044.09, septic receiving rate and fee schedule of chapter 1044, sewer charges of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby, Ohio.
Move for first reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of ordinance number 9, for the first reading rather, of ordinance number 9, 2026. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rob,
Yay.
Mr. Roberts, Mr. Reese,
Yay.
Mr. Martin,
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
Ordinance number 9, 2026 passes first reading. Nothing for miscellaneous business. Is there any miscellaneous business to be brought before council this evening? Mr. Martin.
Mayor and council adjourned.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. McLaughlin for adjournment. Roll call, please.
Mr. Rob,
Yay.
Mr. Roberts, Mr. Reese,
Yay.
Mr. Martin,
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Yay.
That motion passes. Council adjourned at 7:42.